and the cloud craze had caught on, and everyone were talking about, excited about discovering how we can store, access, share file remotely. Of course, even the enterprises were really excited about enterprise file sharing and sync. Something happened. Well, that was a trend at that time, and there was this company called Honeydocs, sorry. They were a web-based service, and what they actually offered was, whenever a file was opened, it would send a notification back to the origin, the creator, or whoever had put that in. Now, interestingly, one such notification came for a file that was stored in Dropbox. Well, as you would imagine, that's a breach, right? Somebody else's data has been viewed. Now, it was this ATM nahi Paytm karo moment for one person who just said, feel Dropbox is speaking into your file, switch to Paraglue. And Paraglue was the speaker for today, which is Kameswaran Subramanian. That was his company, the one he had founded, and that was the message that he went out with. It was a Paytm karo moment that day, if I'm right, Kamesh. Almost, hopefully. Well, we have today Kamesh Subramanian, who was someone who had co-founded and created this company called Paraglue, whose mission was to help customers take their businesses into the cloud. Basically, they were into securing the enterprise file sync and sharing onto the cloud. So this was their company. Kamesh has started from an enterprise architect, and as product leaders who are trying to make a career boost or an acceleration, we would be definitely interested and definitely should look into his profile once. Starting from an enterprise architect to founding a company to being a product management leader at VMware today, leading the cloud management practice, I think it's a wonderful case of how career acceleration and career growth has been and how it has been crafted. So I won't take long, and I think and by the way, I just wanted to ensure that in 2004, Paraglue was also admitted to the Citrix Accelerator Innovator Program. It was a most prestigious thing, and I think that's just a quick brief about Kamesh that I could tell. Kamesh, over to you. Thanks for making it today, and we welcome you all. Thanks.
I typically don't start with that. But people have expectations or say in a different context when you start talking about entrepreneurship. Okay, few things. So about 2 hours back was when I was chatting with the IPL team and decided that okay, let's put some slides so that there's some context around what is to be spoken about. Okay, so in wave of hands, who do you relate with? How many of you don't know what's in this? The Dilbert comics?
We all know.
Wow. Okay, fine. So those of you who know, do you know about Dilbert?
Yeah.
I mean, who do you relate with? Is it Dilbert, Mali, PHP, RIs?
Dilbert.
Where do you relate with Dilbert?
Dilbert.
Okay, now take a step back and see. Who do you think is a good product manager? If you have to start looking at each one of them. So for those of you who don't know, Scott Adams actually runs this blog on Dilbert, which is a very nice one, which mocks as well as ridicules, as well as tells all the good things that we do in the IT industry. So it's a very nice one. So when I was actually thinking about product management, what we should talk about, thought that it will be easier to correlate with that. Traditionally, what has happened is that product managers have come from two major areas, which is either the MBA grads or from pure engineering. And people who come from engineering, they all, like Gilbert. They understand that aspect and say, hey, I correlate with it, that's how things work. But if you look back into that, so I can't go into the details of what each of the characters does because it's a long discussion. In my perspective, the best product manager out here is actually not Gilbert or PHP or else. There's a reason, right? If you look from a product manager, what the fundamental thing that we're trying to address are what do you do? What do you measure? Right? Are any product managers here? Or okay, so just take any of your product managers. What are the KPIs that you measure? Yeah, you said your product manager.
But in terms of KPIs, you can have several. The important ones are how your product is doing in your customer, satisfaction of your customer.
This is CSAT index.
CSAT. How easy to maintain and deliver newer versions. The management part of the product. One is the customer part, second one is the product part itself. How easy it is to roll out new features. Customer and features is fine, but is it also making you money? So monetization of the product. These are some of the important KPIs that one will look for business.
Okay, interesting. So, is it pretty much the same thing or any of you looking at a different set of metrics?
How easy could we changes could we make to an existing product?
Install upgrade,
like that.
lifecycle management.
Yes.
No, so depending on who we ask, right, everyone comes with their own set of KPIs or parameters that need to be tracked. For example, the engineering team has a set of different parameters. The management team or the leadership team will have a different set of revenue targets and things like that. Sales, quarterly. How can I actually meet this quarter's target? How do I take back the commission? So everyone has a different set of KPIs that need to be tracked. And all of them will pump it back into the product management. So essentially there's a lot more noise and if everyone says, okay, let's go analyze data, but in my perspective, the fundamental thing we have to do is that start saying no. We don't need a lot of data. We need to understand what is the music from the noise. There's too much of noise. There are one of the products that when I took over, I realized that we are tracking over 100 metrics. It's insane. Nobody can actually go and track 100 metrics. There's no way that we can actually start correlating each one of them. So identify those top 3 or 5 metrics that is required. And sometimes it's very hard to actually define what is the music. So first, at least try to understand what is the language. I'm speaking in the same set of language. So put things in perspective, I basically track 3 major things. One is that what is the revenue number? Because all products, investment, portfolio, it's the same thing. It's done based on the revenue. That's one. The second thing is the number of active customers. Customers can be, depending on the product, it can be the number of users versus number of enterprise customers, things like that. That actually also tells you a few things. One is that is there a shelfware? Are people really using it? What is the frequency of usage and things like that. The third aspect is the CSAT. CSAT is not just the traditional mechanism of doing it, but it's a perceived CSAT. It's not that you just send out a survey to 200 people and say, hey, tell me what do you think of the product. But there are a lot of times when people, fill up the document in a different way, but when you go and sit with them on a one-on-one discussion, they may say something else. Or they may not say anything now, 6 months later they may not write their contract. Delays or things like that. So the perceived usage or what they feel about the product is a lot more important than what they actually fill up in a form, the document. So there is this philosophy, it's called the KAA. So know, analyze and act. First, know what are the metrics that we need to track. 3, 5, whatever the number is. Smaller, better it is. And then start collecting the information and start analyzing the information and say that, hey, the next 12 18 months is what I'm going to look at and I'm going to evaluate how things are. So the analysis of that is happening, how do I actually take it and start acting on it? And before we actually define what is that metric that needs to be tracked, go back and look at, if I get X, what will I do? If I get Y, what will I do? If there is no clear demarcation between X and Y, there is no point of even taking that metric and start tracking it. So that's one method. I've seen a lot of companies actually track the the SRs, the PRs, the bugs, number of amount of time spent on bugs and things like that. But fundamentally, I don't really track that out. The reason is that it's a very it's a direct value out of it. It does not say anything. Just because the customer has logged 10 bugs does not mean that he's unhappy. It can be that he is actually actively using it more than anybody else. Or somebody who was never logged a bug doesn't mean that he's a successful or a good customer, because he may basically don't care about the product. So there are different metrics, and I'm just saying from my personal point of view and all this. So what is the most important resource? Can anyone? People. Okay, I differ on this. So the most important resource as a product manager is my time. How much time will I spend on X activity versus Y activity? Do I sit with the engineering team and have this long conversation on what is the right architecture, or should I go after new customers and start making those, working with the sales to close the deal, versus go and look at competitors and start identifying the features that needs to be built out? There are always a whole bunch of things that's on the plate. So religiously start saying no. So when I started out, I was like, okay, yeah, competitors having it, I need to build it. Engineering has come up with a good idea, yes, it's a very good idea, it's going to be a differentiating factor, let's go and build it out. That's how I started. So I'm a epitome of a lot of things of how not to do things before I went into entrepreneurship. There I learned, it's a more realistic perspective of the time, the effort, the value, and things like that. Right? So it's very common that people, the product management, especially in India, they have this PM titles, but fundamentally what they're doing is requirement management. Oh, somebody says this from US, my team, sales is saying that the customer, if we get this feature, then they will buy this product. Competitors are building this 20 different things, I need to go ahead and build it. That's fundamentally requirement management. Okay, and as PM should really get away from that. There are enough people out there, enough VAs and other people who can actually start doing it. The whole purpose of a PM is to actually identify, say no to 90% of the thing, and okay, what is the 10% of the thing, and actually do this massive increment in the value. It is not a 1x or a 2x growth in terms of either revenues of the customer aspect, right? It is 10x. How do we substantially jump and leap forward towards that? Some organizations may accept doing that, some organizations may not. But essentially, if you start getting into that mode, you can also start managing better the time. That's the most important resource, right? So, whenever someone comes up with saying that, hey, I need this XYZ feature, I use a 2x2 matrix. I may be a grad, so typically that's what we do. Put everything into a 2x2 and start looking into that. So, the first, the one axis is basically the customer impact, low to high. The other aspect is to say the effort required. Anything which is a low customer and a high effort can never be back. It's hopelessly wasted. It can be the most rocket science thing or anything, but doesn't make sense. Everyone will be so gung-ho about doing it, but if it doesn't add any customer impact, there's no point of doing it. The definition of customer impact is something that you define based on your individual products. It's not like a universal law or something, right? My focus or P0s for anything would always be at a high customer impact with a, which starts at the right corner, and then say that based on the effort, based on the given engineering resources that I have, is this something that I can achieve in the next release? Is it something that I need to split across different releases? So that analysis will start. That then you can say to the engineering team, the QA team, start doing more analysis. But essentially start at the rightmost corner of the customer impact and then move back into this. And many times I will never hit the end point. By the time I can do this, it's already 1-2 releases away. Right? So, I moved from engineering into product management, and then went to do a startup, moved back into product management, again went to do a startup and moved back into product management. So I'm like an oscillator. And because I started from engineering, the fundamental thing was always to build stuff, right? And in my first role as a product manager, that's what I was doing, build stuff, ship. If you go and sit and someone says, hey, I need XYZ, you start analyzing everything and then oh, this is the API change I need to do, this is how I will actually build out what are the different components. You actually have a complete solution around that even before you get out of the meeting with the customer. And once I went into the entrepreneurship the first time, I realized that it doesn't make sense. So just because that is a number one customer, or just because somebody is asking for it, doesn't mean that that is something that is required from in the product perspective. Then started doing what I call as the why analysis, right? So why do they want it? They want to achieve X. Why do they want to achieve X? They want to start drilling down, asking a lot of whys. And realize that I don't really have answers to everything. As PM, we don't have to have answers to everything. You just have to get the right set of people into the room who will decide the answers. You just keep asking, why do you want that? Why? Start asking that, and they will come back with answers. The typical engineering life cycle is to say that we start answering, not just the why, the how, as well. Just to get out of that and say that everyone answers the question, we consolidate and say, okay, now that the 5 different people are giving this answer, I'm able to correlate that and able to make a lot more logical choice. So that's, I was talking about the career path, right? So it is to move away from doing everything and being the central focus, and to say that hey, I step back and let the other people's collectively start making this making the choices and making the decision. Be more like a facilitator rather than be like a dictator saying I say I shall do that kind of thing. So I want to tell about one interesting thing here. So in my first role as a PM, I was with Nokia. At that time, Nokia still existed, right? And we did some rocket science project on data analytics and built this huge consumer profile platform to say the moment a customer actually uses his mobile, till the time he goes into his web, what does he do, how does he do, what Facebook is currently doing, we're trying to build 10 years back, right? And one of the major reasons we did that was because some exec decided that that's the next big thing that's going to come, and we all have to move into that. So it was predominantly an exec-driven decision to go and build this product. 1 year later, everyone was claiming that the product is successful, but I really couldn't see why it was successful. What is the KPI to say it was successful? It became very hard, right? It was just like nice fancy thing from the team that was doing it was very happy, said that in the first company to build so many clusters and millions of transactions per second, all those different things. But the KPIs that I was talking about, right, that was never tried. The KPI was to satisfy people's ego and feel good that I am working on the next big thing and things like that. So if something like that happens now, it becomes very far more easier to come back and sit and say that hey, why do I need to do that? What are we trying to achieve with that? Right? So I'm not here to talk about general products, I'm just here to tell about hey, the mistakes that I made versus the interesting things that happen, so it's a better perspective. So this is an interesting story that I heard about. So let's assume that you want to buy a shirt and you go into this Lee showroom, right? If you go inside and you see there are 3 people in the showroom, but they are talking with themselves. What do you do? Walk out. Walk out.
No.
Walk out.
You go and see what you like, you try it out. Then if you want to buy it, buy it. That's it. Why do you want to wait for somebody?
Yeah, the people working there are talking among themselves.
You try to release something.
Ask them. Go and ask them otherwise.
And they'll say, yeah, we are having this interesting chat about yesterday's football game, we finished it up now. What do you think?
I'll walk out from that show because they are least bothered about the customer.
I'll probably pick up my shirt and do one.
Yeah, if they want to be brave, they come and with it.
He is a good being. Right, so, but why did you go into the shop for? What did you want to buy? You basically wanted to buy a shirt. So did you walk
experience is not enough.
Right, so that's the difference, right? So when you do this inbound product management, we build the best shirt. You wash 20 times, shirt does not have, it doesn't change color, button cannot be pulled even when you try with the cutting plier, all those fancy great stuff. But what does the customer see when he walks inside? It's the, perceive the customer experience. It's not the product quality. Having a great product quality is not it's just because a product has a great quality doesn't mean that it's going to be a success. But if you don't have quality, you're doomed. Right? So what the customer says is that, hey, when you walk in, you say, hey, please come in, we want to try this shirt, there's a new something that has come. So that perceived customer service, that is important. Typically, people, I'm hoping you're from a product company here. So when you come from a product company, you're not really worried about the final experience. We don't have this services mentality when we start, right? But customers are not buying products; they are buying services. They are really interested in saying that I am buying this product because your sales guy has told it better. You are telling me that I can pick up a phone call and call you 24/7 and somebody will answer. If there is an issue, it will be resolved. There is a relationship and trust that is being built. If you look at 80% of the enterprise sales happen through SI partners. It's not just that enterprise can't sell, they can sell, but they always looking to a partner. The reason is that relationship is held by the SI partner or one of those partners, right? So it's the relationship and the service which gets sold. You keep building a whole bunch of interesting products, but if the service element is missing out, the product is doomed. Any questions here?
No.
Cool. So, I'm hoping that you all know what is an STP.
Segmentation.
Segmentation?
Targeting. And
Position.
positioning.
Okay. So, I started the same thing about, when I wanted to do this startup, okay, this is my target segment, I did market analysis, went back and looked at, Gartner and IDC and all kind of things, spoke with a whole bunch of customers. Everything was great. But one fundamental thing which was missed out was the willingness to buy. The willingness to buy was deemed because of two separate things. What I call as a vitamins and antibiotic. Is this product or is this capability, whatever that we are building, is it a vitamin or an antibiotic? If it's a vitamin, it's just like, incremental addition. If I can take it today, I can take it 1 week from now, I can take it 1 month from now. Even if I don't take it, it doesn't matter. So, if you build any capability into the product, new product introduction or existing feature addition, if it's vitamin, doesn't matter. Okay, when you do this, the 2-bit analysis of saying that the customer impact, this becomes very essential. Is that customer impact going to be just because of a vitamin, which means that he can wait or the customer can wait for 1 more release. They can wait for, 1 month. But if it's an antibiotic, which means that they are time bound. They have compliance, regulatory, or because if they don't have it, something will fail, or all those kind of things. So anything which is actually an antibiotic has higher, extra. If you want to do this 10x growth in the next 12 months or 18 months kind of thing, the antibiotic has a lot more advantage in terms of going forward. So I typically use this in terms of feature comparison, saying that if you have two features of almost equal potential, which one do I do? I always go with an antibiotic. Personal choice, you can pick what you want. So, this is from inception. Right. So, when you look from a customer experience point of view, right, you can be like, oh, I think about the customer, I know this is what the customer would want, go and chat with around 10, 20, 30 customers, come back and say, okay, now I'm thinking about the customer, I will go ahead and build. There are this other type of product managers who are really obsessed with customers. Spend 90% of the time in front of customers. Okay, everything, right from design partner program, UX validation to API validation, just sit, breathe, do everything in front of customers. They are like the customer's best buddy. That's the O part. Then there are this paranoid product managers, right? They're always worried about, if I do this, what will happen to the customer? Will my existing customer base, come back and start shouting at me? will I do categorization of my product? Will you start doing something like this? So what if a new startup comes or a new competitor actually comes and picks up this capability? What do I do? So they keep just being extremely paranoid about the customer base, and these are the guys who don't just look by the numbers or the IDC in the Gartner, but actually go and start doing all kinds of analysis. So we can see people with 10 different data points and trying to map and things like that. So when you see from a customer experience point of view, the top model, right, you have to take a stand and say that every PM has to do all three of them at some point of time during the entire release life cycle, right? So when you start with an ideation till the next release, whatever that is, right? How do I actually so you start by saying that, okay, now I'm really paranoid that my customer will ditch me and go. What should I do to keep him? Then become obsessive and say, go sit with the customer, try to understand what do they want. Try to go after new customer market, potential prospects, sit with them and understand that. Look at competitors and market analysis and things like that. Though that's but essentially when you start going towards the execution mode, you start like, I think about the customer, but right now it's not the point because closer towards the execution, let's start moving towards that. And it becomes a cycle, right? The moment you start looking after multiple products and start doing multiple releases every month, it's a lot of context switch. So you don't really inherently start saying, oh, I'm in this mode versus this mode, but you vary between all three aspects of it and say that, how do I perceive my customer? And that is very important. And irrespective of what theory says, that in practical world, there are always nice customers that you really want to work with. There are customers that you really don't want to work with, but because of external factors, you really have to work with. And the second part is the best place for us to go and be the paranoid aspects of it, either because of the dollar value in terms of what they bring in, or because of the exit impact and things like that. The name the customers or the success aspect. This is my experience of what happens from ideation to execution, right? So
Money is offended. Money is Jyotika fan, okay? Yeah.
So I was actually trying to get Vidya balance, couldn't get an image and asked to others. So flip with the Jyotika. So a few things here. If you're not really noticed, they are from two different movies, even though the color themes and transistor, which is what really happens. Even when you start doing something, there is always pivoting. Everyone says that pivoting is only in the startup world, you randomly come up with some brilliant idea overnight and make a change. Actually, it happens a lot more in the enterprise world. Just that our cycles are large, 6 months to 1 year. But you always pivot heavily. Initial POCs that was being done may die down, may come back with version 2.0 and then become a feature in 3.0. So
strategies itself change.
yeah. So in the cloud operations or the cloud management world, they say that 3 to 4 years is the life cycle of every exec. Then they either shift company or shift role. So which means that every 3 to 4 years there is a new person who comes in with a new strategy, a new vision, and everything. Are you recording this?
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, so here, if there are any specific questions, we can get into details because I didn't put a lot of info into this.
So is it helpful for the team that actually ideated also to follow them and also stay on to the execution? What's your experience? So more of the handover. I mean, there has to be handover as well as following. Both have to be done.
Okay, you're talking about the engineering team?
Yeah, just from a
product team. So there are 3 sets of people. At least that's my mental model about the kind of people. Right? The people who can do a 0 to 1. Out of nothing, they can come up with some brilliant idea and do a POC quickly and then show that hey, this is something which is possible to do. And there are people who do the 1 to 10, which is like, okay, if there is a POC, I can go and convert that into a product feature or capability or whatever that is. And predominantly in India, the 1 to 10 is like 10% of the people. Okay, and there is this very few set of people who can do the the 10 to 100x in terms of okay, I am doing this, but if I do something like this, it's incremental and it's a huge value add to the customer point of view. Very few people that I have seen in India who can actually do that aspect of it. Right? So if you say that should the same team be that throughout, maybe there's just one guy who you will find who can be in the 0 to 1 to 1 to 10, but I'm not seeing anyone who can actually do all three. Even product managers are the same thing, right? So, even as a PM, is the PM going to come up with a new idea, new feature, and build something new? Versus take something and grow that. Once a product is making, 500 million, $1 billion, it's harder for that someone to actually take that and then grow it into, do this 10x growth around that. It's a completely different set of skills.
Now, one question. This is my observation. I want to know what is your thought on this. Typically, in an enterprise scenario, ideation is probably a static image, but then the execution, the last part, is definitely not a static. It keeps moving. It keeps perennially getting developed, or there is no logical end to it defined. It keeps going on, either it is in the gold plating or it keeps pivoting. Do you observe this as a pattern, or is it?
It's very normal. That's when you see it, right? So when you start, I don't know, you want to just build ABC, start building it and later realize I also want D. At that time, instead of saying that, oh, D is part of my execution, I keep adding it, you go back and say that as part of my ideation, that's a new capability that I want to add. What do I do with it? Do we want to add it in this release or not? So it's not that okay, it's a fixed set of requirements, I take this and then don't touch me for 6 months, let me go and build it kind of thing. You start looking back and say that any new change, either because you're pivoting or because there's inherent issue into the whole thing and that we're not to change it. It'll again have to come back into that ideation. I don't want to go and start saying, oh, follow the agile model, that's the best model in the world and things like that, because I personally don't like process for the sake of process. Right? But the point is that any new capability that we expose to a customer, doesn't matter what the engineering internally it has, but any capability we expose to a customer should start with an ideation. What is the touch point with the customer? How are they actually going to start working towards that? And then again, the process has to follow. That may not take you 6 months, that may take you 6 weeks or 6 days, but essentially that has to happen.
Related to ideation in enterprise mode, which roles do you recommend to involve in the ideation exercise?
So,
more often, at least I've seen in my organization, tends to be very inward looking, where the focus may go. So, your experiences?
yeah, so there is this, architect type of guy who will come back with this new idea, or the office of the CTO will say 3 years, we are looking at it from a long-term perspective, and they can come back with this idea. But my personal thing is that start sharing information with the team. So essentially, 40 to 50% of them we sit in front of the customers and have this discussion. Right? So once you come back, aggregate the information, share with the team, saying that hey, here are the top 3 or the 5 things that customers said as a pain point, and this is what this customer is saying. When you start having this conversation, say once a month with the entire team, not just the old people with fancy titles, but the entire team per se, you start having this conversation. Some young kid may come up with a better idea than the architect or the auto team can actually come up with. There are a lot of people who actually have ideas. If they know that there is a problem, they will find a solution towards that. And what is happening is that the product manager acts like a gate, right? So from a sales perspective, PMs are like an R&D. We go tell you, done with it. From engineering perspective, oh, you're part of the, the marketing or whatever that is. We will do all the design. We'll come back and tell you. The PMs act like a gate. The moment they start, flowing the information back into the team, they will come up with a lot more better ideas and better solutions. I don't know if it was in your organization, but it's something that I've seen work. So, tools, technologies, and process. What is it that I use, from from a practical perspective. So essentially, I use Evernote a lot. Everything is, from the mobile, laptop, everything gets synced up and start, writing it. Even whether there are open points and action points that needs to follow, everything goes in there. And again, I have a 2x2 matrix in the Evernote. It's a to-do list saying that, hey, important, urgent, important, urgent, the same set of things. And anything at, important and urgent, make sure that by the end of the day, I actually close it before Wednesday. I say that. Right. So, and I do prototyping based on Pulsemake and Sketch. Depending on the type of organization, VMware is a pro PowerPoint friendly. So, do a lot of whiteboarding, take a photo, stick it into a PowerPoint. That makes people happy. But in the startup world, I used to just put glass walls on all sides and start putting everything in the whiteboard, and which works. I've been in a 4-week sprint, 3-week sprint, 2-week sprint, and 1-week sprint, and personally I'm a huge fan of 1-week sprint. So even now in VMware we're trying out with this, for some products we're trying out with the 1-week sprint, especially the SaaS-based stuff. The enterprise on-premise stuff is still at 2-week sprints. Everyone calls it an agile process, so but agile for the sake of agile is like, just saying it's a tick mark around that. You can probably go ahead and do a lot of customization around that. I've done a whole bunch of customization in terms of, when do we start a sprint? So never start on a Monday because most of the guys come late, they take off because of long weekends, start in the middle of the week and end in the middle of the week. So the entire team is able to follow them on retrospection. What else? I mean, I can give a lot of examples on specific questions if you have on this.
Product management is a wide range of activities, right? Starting from ideation or customer discovery, all these things. I know I'm talking from an enterprise point of view also. There's a gamut of things that a product manager does, but in an enterprise scenario, especially mid-product management level, I would say, not senior guys who are owning a business or something, not entry guys. So you get only a chunk of it. By the way, this is not specific to product management alone. This is specific. This is applies to all other functions. You get to do only certain aspect of it. So what about GTM? What about, for example, if I'm a guy who is focused on getting from ideation to engineering is my area of thing, like this is what happened to me in my earlier organization. The GTM doesn't get a focus. So how do you get around with this in an enterprise scenario? Did you face it? First question. If you faced it, how do you get around?
So in my first role as a PM in Nokia, it was more that no GTM, I don't care. There is a different BU which actually takes care of it, few hundred people and things like that. But once you become an entrepreneur and do end-to-end, right, it's hard to stop. You always have a point of view on everything. So I'm doing the same thing in VMware too. It's not, I do have a PMM, DMM, the people with different marketing roles and everything, but you can always have a point of view and say this is what I'd like to go. And after some point of people are mature enough to realize that okay, it's somebody who's bringing in a point with a valid reason, they will sit and discuss. You don't really own that, what is the missing statement that needs to go, but you can influence and say that what needs to be changed. So specifically in what I do at VMware, we actually have a bunch of products. So some of them are in stealth mode, I can't talk about it, but some of them are really large, like few million, things like that. There you can always, it's very hard to go and change the positioning statement. You're only making incremental thing. But something which is like very small product is just growing. It's not even the 1 to 10, it's probably the 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 growth stage, then you can actually have a lot of insights and go and change the statement and everything around it. But it also depends completely upon how the organization responds towards it. A company like VMware, it's all open. You can go and directly go and ping the exec and say, hey, I don't like what you're doing. But there are other companies where
you actually get to talk to your customers, or do you even get a feel of how your customers are feeling about your product?
Yeah, I spend like 40 to 50% of my time with customers. And I'm based out of India, and 98% of my customers are based out of Europe. So
You can pick up the phone and call.
yeah, so even people in US, they don't really go and sit in customer's location every time, right? It's mostly WebEx and calls, so it's pretty much a similar state. But there's a lot of travel, so
I think nowadays, at least product companies have started pushing their product management teams to go and spend some time with customers. I think the ones who have done it and all that. My company also, the product management team, spends time with the customers.
So we have about 10 product managers and we make close to $1 billion in revenue. So we have access to all customers. You can just go and chat. Just that you have to decide whether you want to really go and spend X amount of hours. One of the things that happens is that the moment customers have access to PMs, they think that okay, now I have a bug, hey, I gave you all this, nothing is okay.
Directly comes
Okay.
to me.
There's a support system in place, there's an account team in place, there's a separate route. How do we engage with that? So at BMI we are designing a certain process or certain programs in place like key accounts. We're looking at a design partner program. Then there is this RD customer connect. Fundamentally, it means that engineers go and spend 1 day, 2 days in the customer's location. They shadow the account team, start understanding those things. So different mechanisms of getting people engaged with the customers. But one thing is to clearly make sure that you are not the first line of support.
Yeah.
Kamesh, one more question. How do you interface with your operations team? Do you, first of all, and if so, what is your engagement typically? When I say you, it means that your product managers or whoever are doing the product management. What is their engagement with the operations team?
Can you define what is an operations team? Because one of our products is cloud operations, so maybe the terminologies are inconsistent.
Okay.
Post deployment.
It's about the delivery. So, product is built. It's about from delivering the value to the customer. That part of it. How you the repeatability of it, getting all these things.
That's through the sales and the partner ecosystem, right?
This is engineering operations.
Operations
Once
support.
the
From a SaaS version that you were talking about.
Is it the implementation? Is it sales?
Is it
Could be any platform or application. It is the post deployment and during the deployment.
Okay, so there are multiple teams involved.
Yeah.
One is that we go through our partner ecosystem, which means SIs are then second level, third level partner. They're the guys, hands and feet on the ground, going and doing things out. So, frankly, we don't really engage with them.
Essentially, interacting with the customer in deployment of the product, for example, in real
When it's
life.
implementation.
Okay, so interaction with the customer is owned by the account teams. Account teams own it.
For example,
But the actual deployment is from the partner.
the corporate implemented what was there was a VMware product that we had because the single sign-on your phones and
DIDM,
Horizon, yeah. So there was an account team that was set up inside of the corporate. They were with us for about 8 months to instantiate that, to pilots, get them people's feedback. It was almost a customer discovery and some kind of a customization project that was required. And for the scale, the size, the complexity, deployment programs and all that.
Yeah, so similar
PMs don't get involved in this.
No, interaction, yes. I'm not getting involved in their day-to-day things
Yeah.
because they are working with the customer in terms of deploying the product, right? Enabling the customer to use the product. So they are a great source of, and I'm asking because in my previous one I had this experience where working with the operations became critical. So my question is, are you in touch with them, or do you guys
Not with everyone. So we have different channels. We have the CTAP, customer technical advisory board, partner technical advisory board, CTO ambassadors. So handpick people from the field. Even if there are 100 people, we don't pick 100 people. There are 2 or 3 of them, and we have once in 2 weeks we have called them and say that in the field last 2 weeks what did you see? Is there any specific questions? But that's like a very, very tactical 1 hour call to understand is there a problem in the field, and they go and collect from everyone. We don't go and go into all kinds of discussions.
There is a feedback loop from the operations team to that.
Yeah, but it's multi-layered. The operation teams talk to the account team, and then it comes back into Sparks, and then it comes back into that. So there's definitely a time delay, but that is required to ensure that we're not flooded. same thing, right? Identifying at least the language from the noise. There's too much of data floating around these days.
In confusion with the same slide, whatever it is who are getting it. So, whatever inputs you are getting, how exactly you will come up with, okay, these are the only 10% things which will make an impact on customers' life or the way customers are using your product. How exactly you define that, okay, I collect this data and based on that.
Okay, I typically start with no but why. So by default when anyone says I need this XYZ feature, you say no, we're not doing it. Tell me why do you need it? And then you start. When I started as a PM, I said yes, and let's talk about the discussions. Let's go into the requirements and things like that. That will be like, dying into the hole. Never going to work. The moment you start with I don't know if it works very well, but it works with me is that unless I understand why it is important from a customer's point of view, I'm not going to take it back to this next day to There are so many people and so many different requirements and the bandwidth and the amount of time you can actually invest on certain aspects is very, very low. So unless the why is answered, it doesn't get into it. It can be the most important thing, but if the why is not answered, it's not going in.
So in this process, there must be certain scenarios where one customer is asking something, another customer is asking something else, and there is a conflict. So how do you go about it?
So only two parameters to check. One is that is it a named account? Is it a highly referential account? So in VMware, all top accounts have like 6 sponsors. So if that account has an issue, irrespective of which BU the exec belongs to, he gets a call, he or she gets a call, and then that person trickles down, right? We spend enormous amount of meetings in just doing root cause analysis and all those things. That's different. But that's one part of it. So if it's a named account, then it becomes critical and important. The second aspect is to say that is it specific to this customer, is it specific to an industry, or is it specific across all customers? If it's specific across all customers, there's a lot more weightage towards them. So I still go to the same thing, customer impact. If it's just one customer, the customer impact is low. So in the enterprise scenario, one interesting thing is that the cost of shifting out of any product is way higher, switching cost, right? It's very higher. So it's not, they're not going to, they ask for a feature, you don't give them a feature in the next 2 months, they're not going to test the product and go. But you have to understand what is the pain point. They may not really need the feature. They may, okay, I'll give you an example, right? One of the customers was actually saying that, hey, I need data from my VMs every 1 second. I want to know every 1 second how much CPU memory and all those synchronization is happening on the VM. Right? Okay, this is insane. If you are collecting that, imagine 100,000 VMs pumping out regulatory information, 3 years of data, who's going to pay for storage? If you go and tell the screen sharing team, they're like super happy. They'll spend the next 1 year in building a highly scalable, fault tolerant, auto-correcting system. But if you go and start asking, why do they actually need that? They need it because this is basically the internal IT organization of the customer, right? They give it to the line of business. When they go to the line of business, they come back and say, I don't accept that VM is on. Prove me that VM was actually running. It is being used. So all that they wanted was an answer to say, when did my VM state change? That's like 2 or 3 times a month. You just got away from all those enormous amount of information. Right? So understanding that is very important. And if that customer had been chasing me saying that I want only that feature, you would never have built it. But the moment you understand the why aspect of it and say, okay, this is something that a lot of other customers wanted, now let's go ahead and give it a feature.
And now that we're talking about rules and process here, does VMware or you found any product management process tool?
I don't think anything is that.
It's not one which finds everything like in application management, but at least to pull in requirements and manage them, use backlogs around that. There's a tool for product management. I can do all agile project management.
Yeah, so we tried out a whole bunch of things and now we are in Jira.
Okay.
So, but I don't think there is any good product product management tool which is there, which actually addresses everything into it. It is definitely not that. You just have to take stock on which part of product management are we really focusing in now and address for that. So I use Confluence every, document everything, and then Jira's and Epics and whatever that is just a link to the Confluence. So I understand that there's some companies in India, especially requirement managers who are called as product managers, they go and start writing a whole bunch of big user stories, acceptance criteria, definition of time. They spend a whole bunch of time around that. Yes, even in the event there are a lot of people who do that, but I personally don't. So understanding what is scenario and putting a high level epic and documenting exactly what the customer experiences and what they want in Confluence is important. And then doing this process of mapping them into that, the way of people who can take care of it.
Especially for product managers, those there is that big halo of coming from an IT background or engineering background. From your practical experiences, how much of technical knowledge or domain knowledge does the product manager need to have to execute
In the ITS space or the IT product space, a non-technical guy will be extremely hard to become a product manager. I mean, you can give examples of Google and Facebook where people with design experience and art and science have gone on to become product managers. But if you want to build an IT product or the technology product that we keep building, understanding that side of technology is extremely important. We never write code. We never go on to any architecture discussion. But we should be able to sit in a meeting along with the engineers and try to understand the terminologies and know what they're talking about. It's very, very important. So everyone just assumes that, oh, you're from India, you come from a tech background, you can go and write anywhere from C to .NET to Node.js and everything. Don't really have to do that. Just need to understand why do I choose which technology. That is enough. So getting out of that is very important. But the best PMs that I have seen all come from tech backgrounds. And MBA is great, but MBA is not a prerequisite to be there. So the alternate is to actually go spend some time with customers. It's very important. And when you're building the product, your mindset is completely different in terms of looking at capabilities and features and things like that. The actual usage is very important. So probably go and do something like a UX training or understand from user experience perspective, or go spend a month with the sales team or something. That will help. Okay. Quickly recapping. Understand what we are trying to monitor. Getting the data point is extremely important. And the second thing is that the product is not available. Customers don't perceive products, they perceive services. So the focus is not building great products, but building great customer experience, the service mentality around that. And India is known for this service. So we can actually get a lot of good PMs from here. The parting line is, this is my philosophy, is once you become a PM, it's a way of living. Start behaving like a PM everywhere. So when you go home and talk with kids, still have the same perspective. If you live in a joint family with multiple kids, you're already a PM. Do you know how multiple kids are fighting, prioritization, making sure that everything works and trying to get a goal? That's the best training to go into the product management. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kamesh. Thank you very much for your talk. It's really interesting. I'm sure all of us really benefited from this. Here's a small thing from us. Thanks for making it here.
அது என்னோட கண்ட்ரோல் கிடையாது, அவங்களோட.
யாரு சரக்கு
சரத் அல்லது ராஜேஷ்.